we have in this country, and let's get them the help. They're patriotic. They love the country. Get them in to help get this country back on track.
I agree, Sarah. I as an American, a proud American, I feel the labor participation right now, which is which is near 40-year low, and has been under 63% for 21 consecutive months, with productivity not being the numbers that we would expect. With this continuous outsourcing to China, to India, to Mexico, to Poland, to all those places, not helpful. And I think the issues we discussed, the strategies, the solutions, we could address this. We could overcome a lot of those issues and really be stronger. Because I think what we're focusing on is we're focusing on more private agendas. We're focusing on creation of overinflamed unicorns. And
Yes.
You and I had discussions on this instead of a national agenda.
Well, and we have to be nonpartisan. We have to be and get a lot of these political issues out of the talking points, get them off the table and talk about some of these serious issues that we need to address that the other stuff just holds us back. I mean, we can't be talking about discrimination and social inequality. That has to be solved. And we know that that's wrong. And we got to say, okay, that's wrong, but we can't let that argument hold us back on other things that we need to do. And that's super important, but we can't be sidetracked. We got to get this accomplished, and we have to do it in a nonpartisan way. And all those other things, we just have to recognize that we got to mature and grow as a society and stop doing those other things that are so destructive.
Sarah, I agree with you. You and I know today, being very proud Americans, the United States today is the number one economic superpower in the world. Number one economic. So we have the highest standard of living today, while other countries are closing the gap. But the key to our success, and I believe the U.S. Competitiveness Council is a major driver in this, is entrepreneur. Let's focus on American entrepreneur, the person that wants to create opportunities, businesses, and jobs. No other country in the world has this environment, as you know, for innovation like we do in the United States. No other country. We share the risks. We're not afraid to fail once, twice, and we keep going. When I started my career, as a chief technology officer, as you know, and worked as a CTO for public and private companies. And then I said, I really want to get into the business of investments. So I re-educated myself. I retooled myself in investment management, in venture capital, in strategy. And every American should be able to do this, but we need encouragement. We need motivation.
And lifelong learning. Yeah. The ability to be able to get into a different direction and learn new things and be confident doing it. And be supported doing it. Everybody who wants to should be able to learn. Lifelong learning is the most important. And the fact that people want to switch careers, good. That's fine. Let's support them and learn.
Absolutely. And I think what we have here is, again, we keep coming back, those innovation clusters, which are, the Competitiveness Council is highly involved. I'm personally involved. We got to be able to connect the dots. We got to be able to connect the dots with the national labs, the industry, the universities. But now I'm really fostering the creation to the connection to the entrepreneurs, the connection to venture capital, our investors, the people that really want to foster all those new ideas, all those new companies, and that will be our key to competitive advantage. Every other country in the world could try to replicate this. We're years ahead if we just get our act together, and we could take risk. We could take a shared risk together, a more calculated risk. But I believe we will succeed, and we will keep. It will keep America as the number one economic superpower if we do this properly.
So we have all the pieces. We just need to be a team now and do it together, right?
We got to be a team. And I mentioned in the beginning of our podcast that I really believe right now, and you've probably seen a lot of the stuff that I've written. I really believe that artificial intelligence is going to be the key. Coming back to something specific right now, we are the lead player in terms of investments, as I mentioned, innovation in the AI, startups, and everything else. And this is happening because we have incredible amount of data available, incredible amount. It's something like, in the next several years, we will have 44 trillion gigabytes of information that we got to be able to decipher and make sense out of it. We have very fast, as we discussed in the beginning, very fast supercomputers, and they're going to get 30 times faster than they are in the next 3 to 4, 5 years. Wow. So all the pieces, there's a perfect storm, Sarah. All the pieces are coming together. We have them. And now I believe that now the AI is not the AI that I was used to years ago when I was educated in AI. Now AI is becoming very much applied. It's applying to finance. It's applied to entertainment world. It's applied to healthcare, every industry. And as Mark Zuckerberg said, AI will create major success. Your companies will be very, very successful. And that's why, Sarah, what we're seeing Facebooks of the world, Google, the IBM, Microsoft investing so heavily. Number one on their agenda is to acquire AI resources, knowledge, competence, so they could impact all those new business models, which they could invest.
And it's basically using the data and figuring out, being smart with the data and being able to do analysis quickly, because people can't do that quickly, and using the AI to do the analysis, whether it's driving cars, whether it's fintech and investing. What other examples do you have? There's tons.
Well, absolutely. So you just mentioned cars, the driverless cars. In the next 5 years, also, I don't think it will be perfect because you need perfect environment and you need probably to do it. But what will happen in the future, you'll have an app, and instead of a Uber driver picking you up, you'll have a driverless car. Like almost what's happening now in experimental level at Pittsburgh.
But it'll be safer, right? I mean, you might have, I just was talking about this the other day, that somebody got killed in a driverless car. Okay. Yeah. However, it's still a lot safer. You might have 3,000 deaths in a driverless car, but you would have 100,000 in regular cars. There's a huge statistical difference. I threw those numbers out. Those aren't accurate, but there is a huge statistical difference on the number. It's so much safer.
You're absolutely right. The human drivers actually killed 32,000 people a year, and driving fatalities. And there's research now indicating that AI driving will probably eliminate, most of those accidents. So I think that model is being shaken up. The traditional auto manufacturers have to come up with something. The BMW, Mercedes, I know that they're working, Chrysler, GM.
It's happening in all sorts of industries. Like fintech is the same thing. They're worried about the traditional banking going away because so much of it's going to just happen with AI and automated software applications.
Sarah, you're absolutely right. In traditional call centers, which are also part of the banking industry and many others, are probably going to be disintermediated because it's all going to be automated by AI systems. And I actually will go out. I made a statement. The chairman of JP Morgan made that statement also and said fintech will eat ours for lunch if we don't do something, because most banks will be disintermediated. So things like walking to the bank.
They will be.
If you walk into the banks, you may not have the reps there. They won't exist because everything will become very commoditized and it will be peer-to-peer products. You'll be able to communicate through to all sorts of agents exactly what you're looking for.
And millennials prefer that. So they're the ones that are going to go. They prefer to do things online, socially, networking. Yeah, their world is different.
The world is very different. And by the way, a lot of the, for example, the private banking, the wealth banking, it's affected by robocalls as they are today. So robocalls, they are the calls that are specialized calls that are getting information from you about your investments. However, I do think if you're an ultra high net worth individual and you're, in the environment, you probably still need, support and guidance. That's not going to go away.
You're always going to need the brains to think about creative, different things. You can't automate understanding global economics and big picture stuff. That's not going to happen. It's just like automating art. You're not going to automate art. You're not going to automate creativity. It's the stuff that doesn't take the creativity and the real high-end thinking that you can automate.
But Sarah, AI is going to create lots of new jobs in creativity. It's going to create lots of new jobs
yes.
for the industry, lots of new jobs in fintech. Because what we're doing, instead of having day traders right now, we're going to have, those intelligent systems, and those systems will have to be populated properly. And so you're going to you need a lot of experts that will actually work with the quant data, with those intelligent boxes, and you have to be able to monitor, manage, a lot of complexity there, monetary policies from Asia, from Europe. All those things are going to be reside in those smart boxes, and, decision-making process is going to be double-checked. Quality assurance, for example, I really believe that the role of the quality assurance in this country, right now, the quality assurance is an area of manufacturing, IT, but that quality assurance role is going to be everywhere as the AI economy is going to take place, because you're going to need to make sure that when those systems are in place, they're functioning properly, because we would not be able to afford even 1% deviation.
Well, what are we going to do with the people because we're going to need a different educational system to be able to educate people to handle this stuff. What are we going to do with the people that traditionally were doing low-skilled labor?
I think a lot of improvements are going to be made in farming. We're going to be able to provide a lot more intelligence and information to farmers regarding the crops. And this is just an example. So I think that they will benefit tremendously. But I think that whatever the area is, some people may be into agriculture, some people in farming, some people in technology. They just will have to be updated on the latest products and the latest applications. And I also believe that, iPhones are going to become much, much smarter through, now you and I are using Siri. Siri, give us the weather, tell me what my agenda is for today. Those Siri applications are going to be very, very useful for the general public, because they'll be able to help them. They'll be able to also educate them. A lot of it is going to be used for entertainment and education, for what I call deep learning systems. So I don't think you may not necessarily need to go to a specific college. If you are in farming industry or agribusiness or manufacturing, you may have apps which will have this interactive education using AI, which will teach you a lot of information, so you could be productive and you could be successful and drive your businesses in any way that you want to. And that's the future.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been very educational. How can people learn more about you and your work and all the fascinating things that you're doing with this council?
Folks should connect to the council's website, compete.org. In the Council of Competitiveness, JFCC also has its own website, and you could find that from the Council of Competitiveness. But also, I also am in venture capital. I'm investing with groups both in West Coast and East Coast, and private equity here in New York. And so people could get in touch with me directly. And I have my own personal website, which, if you like, can I announce it?
Oh, absolutely. Go for it.
www.markminovich.com is my personal website.
I'll put it up on the radio page so people have that. And
people could link to that or send me an email. My email address is there. So, from the competitiveness to technology to venture capital, we covered a lot of areas. Artificial intelligence, be happy to take the discussion further. And I really enjoyed this conversation. We hit so many points. It was such a lively discussion, and leading to a very instead of focusing on risks and challenges, I think we hit that, but we were focusing on the future, and we were focusing on solutions and opportunities.
Well, and that's what we need to do. We need to focus on solution and opportunities, and we need to do that together. And hopefully we can get some leaders in this country that can create some vision, so we can bring all types of people together to move towards where we need to go.
Let's do this together, Sarah. I think the podcasts have been really inspiring, and I very much look forward to following up.
Absolutely.
And being involved in this process together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you.
Great interview with Mark Minovich. And if you want to see more information on how to contact him, go to my website at sarahwestall.com. I have all his contact information, his email, his websites, and you can get them from there. I also have all my past shows up there as well with